Some places stay with you, not because of what they look like, but because of what they take from you. The gate of the University of Benin was one of those places. That was where Mark's story began. 17 years old, fresh out of high school, fresh out of Lagos, raised in a home that believed in discipline. Within an hour of arriving in Benin City, the testing had already begun. Mark was carrying his travel bag as he and his mom exited the bank and headed to the side of the road to get a taxi. Just then, a brown Peugeot 504 with 3 men, including the driver, pulled up. Thinking it was a taxi, Mark waved them down and negotiated a ride to Ring Road where they would get another taxi to the university. What followed was fast. As the car drove along, Mark noticed the passenger in the front seat had his hand inside his travel bag. The driver had suggested he puts his travel bag in front to help create space at the back. He raised an alarm, an attempted robbery. Mark made sure he and his mom got out of that safely. For a brief moment, he felt like something had shifted, like he had stepped into something new. Mark's mom praised him for his vigilance and said she felt even more confident now that he would be fine on his own at the university. They arrived at the university gates. That feeling didn't stay, because standing there with luggage in hand and uncertainty in his chest, Mark felt something else. Excitement. He had made it to university. Nervousness. He didn't know anyone. And something deeper, harder to explain. A quiet pressure, as if life had just removed its training wheels. Without asking if he was ready, in 1989, distance meant something. There were no mobile phones, no quick calls home. Whatever happened inside those gates, you lived with it. His mother did what she knew best. She prayed, not casually, not quietly. She prayed like someone sending her son into a world she did not trust, asking for protection, for guidance, for strength, for God to go where she could not. Mark stood still, respectful, composed. But inside, he was already beginning to understand something. Prayer could prepare you, but it could not introduce you to everything waiting for you. It started simply. A boy approached him, not much older, relaxed, casual, the kind of face you wouldn't think twice about. "Are you a new student?" Mark nodded. There was no reason not to. The boy smiled. "Cool." A pause. "Has anyone approached you about joining any clubs?" "Clubs? No," Mark shook his head. "Why?" Then he said something that sounded ordinary, but wasn't. "I go block you later." Silence followed. Not long, but long enough. Mark didn't fully understand what it meant, but he understood something else. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a promise. Registration took time. Long lines, slow movement, too many questions, not enough answers. Students came and went, some confident, some lost, some watching others more than they should. At the University of Benin, new students did not arrive unnoticed. That was where Mark met Eli. 18, tall, composed, well-dressed in a way that suggested intention. The kind of young man who carried himself with quiet balance. Friendly, but not easy to push. They spoke. Nothing deep, not yet, but enough to recognize something familiar, something safe. They came from similar homes, homes that believed in discipline, in education, in doing the right thing. They were what people would call good boys. And good boys believe something simple, that if you carry yourself well, the world will meet you halfway. But the university had its own system, unwritten, unspoken, and often enforced. Some groups moved differently, spoke differently, watched differently. And for boys like Mark, those differences would matter. Around that time, the country itself was restless. The 1989 anti-ASAP riots had already shown how quickly things could shift. Students protesting, cities unsettled, tension in the air. Mark had worried his admission might be delayed. He had no idea that getting in would be the easy part. That first day passed quietly. No confrontation, no conflict, just movement, observation, and small moments that didn't seem important yet. Life was sweet. But somewhere on that campus, people were already paying attention, watching who walked alone, who looked unsure, who could be approached. If you want to understand what really happened next, follow the story, because when Friday came, Mark would learn something no one had taught him at home.